Hey everyone! Today, I want to share a strategy that can be really effective for anyone seeking stable returns and a bit more peace of mind when it comes to investing. We're going to go over what a bond ladder is and how it works, because honestly, it can be a great tool for those of you looking for predictable income without taking on too much risk. Now, I know a lot of people are familiar with bonds, but what you might not know is that creating a bond ladder can help you manage interest rate risk and give you a more reliable income stream over time. And this can be especially useful if you're nearing retirement, or even if you're just trying to balance out your portfolio. So then, what we're going to cover today is how a bond ladder works, why it's effective, and the steps you can take to build one for yourself. By the end, you'll have a clear understanding of how you can use this strategy to benefit your own financial situation. So, stick around, and we'll dive right into it. Alright, so let's start with the basics. A bond ladder is essentially a series of bonds that mature at regular intervals. Instead of buying all your bonds to mature at the same time, you spread out the maturities over a period of years. What does this do? Well, it helps smooth out your income because you'll have bonds maturing at different points, giving you a steady stream of payments rather than a lump sum all at once. So then, let's say you decide to build a bond ladder with 5 bonds. You buy one bond that matures in 1 year, another in 2 years, another in 3 years, and so on, up to 5 years. When the first bond matures, instead of just taking the cash and running, you reinvest it into a new bond at the end of the ladder. So, if the first bond matures after a year, you'll reinvest that money into a new 5-year bond. This way, you're always rotating and keeping your ladder going. Now, you might be thinking, why go through the trouble of doing this? Well, the main reason is to reduce your exposure to interest rate risk. Let's say you bought all your bonds to mature at the same time, and during that period, interest rates dropped. Then, you'd be stuck reinvesting all your money at lower rates. But with a bond ladder, you're spreading out when your bonds mature, which helps you take advantage of changing rates over time. It smooths out the highs and lows, so you're never stuck with a bad deal for too long. Also, having a bond ladder gives you liquidity. What I mean is, if something unexpected comes up and you need cash, you'll have bonds maturing at different intervals. You can use that money instead of selling off other investments, like stocks, at a potentially bad time. Plus, bond ladders are a way to diversify within your fixed income portion of your portfolio. You're not putting all your eggs in one basket, so to speak, when it comes to interest rates or maturity dates. Now, let's talk about how to actually build one. First, decide how much money you want to invest in bonds. This doesn't have to be a huge amount. Even if you're working with a modest budget, you can still build a ladder. Next, choose the time frame. A lot of people use 5-year ladders, but you can go shorter or longer, depending on your goals. Then, you'll divide your investment equally among the different bonds with staggered maturities. So, if you have $10,000 and you want a 5-year ladder, you'd put $2,000 into each bond, one maturing in 1 year, one in 2 years, and so on. Another thing to consider is what type of bonds to use. Treasury bonds are a popular option because they're backed by the US government, so they're considered low risk. But you can also use corporate bonds, municipal bonds, or even CDs if that fits your strategy better. Just be sure to think about your risk tolerance, because while corporate bonds might give you higher returns, they also come with more risk than treasuries. And, speaking of which, you'll also want to consider the interest rates. When you buy bonds, the interest rate or the yield is going to be fixed at the time of purchase. If interest rates go up after you buy, you're kind of stuck with the lower yield until the bond matures, which is why having that ladder helps. Over time, as bonds mature and you reinvest, you'll be able to take advantage of any rate increases. So, once you have your ladder built, it's pretty hands-off from there. You just let the bonds mature, and when they do, you reinvest. It's a bit like setting up a system that works on autopilot. You're not constantly watching the markets or making decisions about when to buy or sell. You've already laid the groundwork, and now it's just about maintaining the ladder as time goes on. And that's what makes this strategy so appealing. It's simple, effective, and doesn't require a ton of ongoing management. Now, you might be wondering, is a bond ladder right for me? Well, if you're someone who values stability and predictable income, then yes, a bond ladder could be a great fit. It's especially useful if you're nearing retirement, as it can provide a steady income stream without having to dip into your other investments. But even if you're younger and just want to balance out your portfolio, it's still worth considering, since it can help manage risk over time. What's more, bond ladders are flexible. You can adjust them to fit your needs, whether that's building a short-term ladder for more immediate liquidity or a long-term one to lock in higher yields over a longer period. It all depends on your goals and what you're comfortable with. So, a bond ladder is a straightforward and reliable strategy for generating income while managing interest rate risk. By spreading out the maturities of your bonds, you can reduce your exposure to changes in interest rates, maintain liquidity, and create a stable stream of income over time. Whether you're nearing retirement or just looking for a way to balance your investments, a bond ladder can be a smart addition to your portfolio.